Hello guys, once again welcome to NEET PG Live Daily. We have yet another session on coagulants and anticoagulants. This is part 2. I have already covered part 1, and keeping in mind that this coagulants and anticoagulants is a big chapter, and the number of MCQs should also be sufficient to give you a overall picture about coagulant and anticoagulants, so you need not go into details of the or refer a book, because I will be giving you sufficient explanation of each and every question, and at least there should be at least more than 75 or almost 100 MCQs from these chapters. Then that will be sufficient to cover the entire this topic, coagulant anticoagulants. I will be talking about antiplatelets and all that, and I have already discussed hematinics and all that. So after this anticoagulant 2, this series, after 2 I will be coming with 3 also, because I think you need little more, and that will give you, as I said, overall picture of the topic. So and these all MCQs will be with explanation, so you can note it down if as you like. Otherwise you have to consult your textbooks and all that. That will be little tiring exercise, so it's better to note it down. Whatever I say, that would be a better option to get things ready, and you can always revise within no time. So with that, I start with it is for those who are the first timer on this Unacademy NEET PG channel on YouTube. So I am a clinical pharmacologist by specialty, rather I am a super specialist, and this information, I think this much introduction is more than sufficient. And let us tell me the benefits of this Telegram app. This app is most of the people are nowadays using, because it provides opportunity to add too many members in comparison to WhatsApp. So that is why this is getting very popular among people. And this Telegram app, if you have not downloaded, please download it and join this group. But the one obstruction is this, or you can say the negative point of this: you cannot send message to us, but we can share all the information regarding our classes, what topic I will be taking, and how it will be taken, for what period, or something like that. And I can also share the link of my video live classes. If you have missed those classes and all that, you can watch them later also. So all these things are available, and the entire day schedule is available. So educators keep posting their classes timing and all that. So it is really beneficial for you, because you get all the information at one platform, and you can attend whoever educator you like most, or whatever classes you like most. Or if you want to watch everything, you can always. It depends on you. The choice is yours. And by just clicking this link, you can go to Unacademy Live PG, Unacademy PG, NEET PG platform on YouTube. So there you can watch live sessions, and we share the links also of our this live sessions, so you can watch them later by clicking that link. It will take you to the lecture proper on the YouTube session that has been uploaded, right? One more thing I want to share with you guys, that there is an app called Unacademy Learning app. This app is important if you want to enjoy special classes. These special classes are available on this learning app, and this is available for both Android users as well as iOS user. And this special classes, you have to come on this platform, and these are absolutely free. You don't have to shell out a single penny for watching these classes. You can download notes and all that, and this special classes will give you a better experience than other classes like on View2. though I'm not saying there is no compromise in the content which is being delivered in these your live sessions, but the platform, the interface that you will see on this academic app and like an academic learning app, that will give you a real enthusiasm, or it will give you a better feeling than the YouTube classes. That much I can assure you. So if you have not downloaded it, you just ask your friend, you first download it, check its features, and if you really love it, I definitely say you will start loving it. You will fall in love with this, and you can share this information to others. You can share the link of this app to others, so they can also download it and can take benefit of both via YouTube classes as well as the special classes. You are getting free classes at 2 platforms. This is a big thing for you guys, right? There are, but despite our availability of these free classes and all that, a group of individuals, there are certain people who actually are pursuing the perfection. They are in search of perfection, and they want something different what others are using or doing. They have always want to do things differently. So for these kind of aspirants, these NEET PG aspirants, you are also NEET PG aspirant, but they want something different in terms of maybe the content, the study material that is available to him other than these classes and all that, and the guidance and the strategy how to crack exams and all that. So and more interaction with the educators to clear his doubt, queries, concepts, everything, and that is available for at certain platform, and which is and this NEET Unacademy has brought it as under the heading NEET PG as plus course or plus platform, and these free courses and special classes are available free of course, as I already shared with you, but this plus has something more to offer. That is why it is called plus. It has plus benefits associated with it, but this is not something which is available free. For this you need to subscribe, that too also at a very petty cost. You get all the services available, because I respect this Unacademy for being so generous, and they are giving this high level education to majority of the public or students, those who require it nationwide, and that too without any cost. This free services, this is very I would appreciate their gesture, that this is a democratic way of imparting knowledge to those who cannot afford it, or giving it free to majority of the public without paying any money. But those who can pay can always subscribe to this NEET PG Plus. This has little extra features that makes it little unique. That is why it is available on paid basis. So you can subscribe to NEET PG Plus and can get additional advantage that are associated with it. Being an expert or experience in the field of my field, that is like pharmacology, I would request, if you have decided to subscribe to this channel or this NEET PG Plus, you subscribe it for at least 12 months, but there is 24-month option is also available. And the purpose is that a 12-month period is minimum period that is considered to at least cover entire syllabus and make you at least perfect for taking up any PG entrance examination. So for that reason, this much period is required. There's nothing can be done, with the blink of an eye. You cannot become, successful. You need to work hard. You need time. Everything is required. Your efforts, the time and everything, and your knowledge as well, your understanding of the subject, everything. Just studying 18 hours in a day, but you are not retaining anything, not understanding anything, does not make sense. So you need certain educators who can shape you up to tackle all these difficulties which I am talking about, and during this 12-month period there will be maybe number of educators you will come across and will learn lot many things other than the subject. They are expert, knowledgeable in their subject. They have vast experience of teaching students like you, so that is not an issue at all. But you will learn many other things that is beyond teaching the subject itself. So that qualities you will also be imbibing from them. And the educators keep posting special keeping in mind the need of the learners for the different PG entrance examination. We keep hosting different courses on this NEET PG Plus platform, so that you can take them up, you can attend them, and you can specifically can prepare for that particular entrance and all. So this is other things which we will be getting during this period. So I would request to at least subscribe it for 12 months, and you will get 10% instant discount also when you apply this code Dr. Pramod. So that would be added advantage, the plus advantage I can rather say. And you can the payment they are asking for is not also big, and you will get 10% discount on that. So this is very petty amount, and it's a deal worth go for, I think. And you can extend your the subscription period for 24 months by just paying little notional increase in the subscription charges, and you apply. I would rather request you or suggest you or recommend you, so you should be on this platform so that you don't miss any opportunity to get selected in the very first go. These are my good wishes that you get selected in first go, provided that you prepare yourself in a way that you don't leave any stone unturned to crack the examination. And there are different way of making payments, so you can always choose as per your convenience and pay. The advantages which I was talking about, that why it is called plus, that these live classes as you are attending, the only deterrence in or the kind of obstruction between you and me is that you cannot connect with me in terms of you cannot forward your queries, your question or your doubts, anything. It is just like a passive learning. You will be just listening to me. This is one-way traffic. So that is not, I think, can't be said as proper learning method. But in special classes in NEET PG Plus, you have opportunity to interact with the educator in real time. But in special classes you have opportunity, but in NEET PG Plus you have until time you can interrupt the educator and ask your question and everything, because number of students will be less, number of learners are less. So educator also has can give personalized attention to the each and every learner. But in special classes the number may be little more, so it will not be possible to take up each and everything. But despite that, educator always try to resolve issues. And if you start following the educator, then you can send through message your queries, and that queries will be answered. Don't worry, that is always answered. If you have any doubt and all that. So these are the features you will see in NEET PG Plus. Not only NEET PG Plus, some of the features are present in the special classes. That is why I said if you shift to special classes, you keep watching your YouTube channels and all that. That is important. And other than that, you can attend special classes that will give you a real better taste in terms of the interface you will be seeing. Here there are like poll facility, leaderboard facility. This poll you can poll as per whether you have liked the lecture or what was the plus point or your feedback or any creative suggestion or anything, that are all taken hand in hand and are tried to resolve. This is one of the way, because that is how we improve. Nobody is perfect in this world, so this is exchange of ideas between two beneficiary. The learner exchanges, shares his concerns or anything what he feels to share with the educator. So that makes us even wiser, and we can take those corrective steps in time. So that is always good to have feedback from these students. So this power is shifted to now learner's hand. The leaderboard is a tool to know about your own performance. Not only your own performance, you also come to know about your how your group is doing, because that is also necessary. Not only self-assessment is important, how your group is doing, whether they are doing better than you or you are bit better than them. And we also come to know that how the entire the learners who are being taught by us they are doing, whether they are understanding what we are teaching. That can also be known from the doubts and all that, but this leaderboard will give you overall idea when you conduct any test and all that. So it gives you a snapshot of the performance of these students. So this facility is also there. And in terms of study materials and all that, this NEET PG Plus, this facility is available on NEET PG Plus. You have number of test series, their analysis, you can download them, you can read them. I mean, it can make you, these are really quality stuff that one should not miss out, and definitely read this. So explore this site and get this test series and all that. And very good thing is live doubt clearing session. After every 3 live classes on NEET PG Plus, this is mandatory to take live doubt clearing session. So because you have opportunity not only in live classes, you can ask then and there and your queries will be resolved there, but you have dedicated session also. So we leave no opportunity or no chance for the learner to ask. And it means you, whenever, whatever you feel, just ask. We are there to answer it, because this also enhances our understanding, our learning also. So anyway, we are not just making you learn, you are also making us learn. So that is a two-way traffic. So both are beneficiaries, both are getting benefited by this, and the offline, facility that you can download any video, any notes, any series, test series, everything. So that is available 24/7, and 365 days. So this facility is available only for NEET PG Plus subscribers, and the number of students are less. So I said that educator can have personalized attention. He knows the learners by name, he knows his strength and weaknesses, and can advise him accordingly to do better in the exams. So this is all our advantages of Plus. I think you all guys, ultimately it is you or have to decide, because call is to be taken by you. Ball is in your court, whether you want to come on this platform and take or enjoy all the benefits by paying a petty amount for that, or you are happy with those free classes, though no problem. It's all up to you. Everybody can't subscribe to I understand the because it comes at a cost. So but this is all up to you, and with this I think I should start the session proper. As I said, this topic is little lengthy and drugs are also important, so I try to make a little more MCQs so that you get acquainted with the entire chapter well, so that you don't have to consult books, and I will giving you explanation for each and everything, so you can note it down. It will be a shortcut for you, because in the 11th hours, if you want to have a revision kind of thing, you can go through that. So you can keep a pen and pencil, pen and paper ready. So this is how things can be. This is the way how to make things little easier for you, because everything is given in the book. I am not talking anything other than book, because I am not the author of all these things. I am just sharing with you because I have better understanding of the things, so I will make it easier for you. This is what an educator can do. And if you find it if an educator tries to make things simpler and a little easier for you, you develop interest. You stop thinking that this subject is difficult, I cannot handle it. So it kind of a boost you get from moral support you get from the educator. If the educator is good, he is able to take up all your difficulties and can resolve your difficulties. So let us start with first question of the day, that is warfarin induced skin necrosis may be a potential complication in patients with antibodies against factor 7A, that is activated factor 7, or in patients with heparin induced thrombocytopenia, with heparin induced mineralocorticoid deficiency, and with antithrombotic 3 deficiency. If you look at this, if I start with, you can tick your choice, whatever you think is the correct answer, and then when I explain, you can find out whether your answer was right or wrong. So with antithrombin 3 deficiency, if you look at this is something different. This is a natural anticoagulant present in the body, involved in regulation of coagulation and all that. So this is something which has nothing to do with warfarin, because warfarin is an oral anticoagulant and which acts through vitamin K pathway, interference with vitamin K pathway. And vitamin K, as I said, its reduced form is very important in gamma carboxylation of the glutamate residues of certain clotting factors like 27910, protein C, protein S, bone osteocalcin, and growth arrest specific protein 6 and all this. So this is important, and you should know that heparin has potential to cause mineralocorticoid deficiency. It can produce even hypokalemia, but this has nothing to do with this skin necrosis and all that. With heparin induced thrombocytopenia, yes, this is the correct answer. I will tell you why. And this is of no value, because antibodies against 7A is not at all related to skin necrosis. Actually, this skin necrosis, warfarin induced skin necrosis, occurs when you start a warfarin therapy. So what happens, we have anticoagulant protein in the bodies like vitamin C, so protein C, S, as I said, antithrombin 3 and all that, thrombin, this tissue factor pathway inhibitors and all this compounds, natural substances present in the body that actually act as anticoagulant. But in warfarin induced therapy, if you give warfarin, start warfarin, what happens, the many of the clotting factors and these protein C and S, they have lower plasma half-life. So before reduction in the concentration of the other clotting factors, this protein C gets depleted from the serum. So this was acting as an anticoagulant. So still warfarin has not taken in full effect as an anticoagulant. So other clotting factors, so there is kind of procoagulant situation is created, because this protein C is able to degrade factor 5 and factor 8, activated factor 5 and 8, and does not allow clotting pathway to act or go downward or downstream. So this is important. So this vitamin protein C deficiency, either hereditary deficiency or because of this early disappearance of protein C, because of there is no vitamin K mediated gamma carboxylation of its glutamate residues, because it is also done by vitamin K. So this vitamin C becomes inactive and there is procoagulant state is created. So that leads to thrombosis in the small vessels of the skin and all that. Especially it appears on the extremities of this on extremities. It can involve the fat like breast fat, penile fat and all that, and in this area it appears actually. And this heparin-induced thrombocytopenia, what happens, there is is a very common problem with heparin. Here it is antibodies are produced against platelet factor 4 and it forms complex with HIT, and in this area this platelet actually also release certain factors that lead to further platelet activation, and already this warfarin induced skin necrosis is because of the procoagulant state. Here also procoagulant state, because there is thrombosis and all that develops, because if you see heparin-induced thrombocytopenia, it presents with vascular thrombosis and all that. It can produce arterial thrombosis as well. So this may increase the incidence of complications of this skin-induced necrosis if warfarin is being used. So never use warfarin if patient is receiving has developed HIT because of the use of heparin or other anticoagulants. Please remember this. So correct answer is B. Heparin-induced thrombocytopenia is defined as absolute platelet count less than 150,000 per ml or a decrease or a 33% decrease from the treatment value, or a 25% decrease from the pre-treatment value, or a 50% decrease from the pre-treatment value, or 75% decrease from the pre-treatment value. So it is defined as both absolute platelet count less than 1.5 lakhs, or whatever platelet counts were there, how much percentage decrease should be from there, what fraction they should be decreased to qualify as heparin induced thrombocytopenia. So do you think it is 75%? Did you tick your answer, or take a pen and pencil? You can judge yourself how your preparation is going on. So so if you look at this 75%, I don't agree with this. If you see 33%, 1/3 pre-treatment value looks logical, but still this is not the right answer. 25% decrease from the pre-treatment value is also not a right answer. The right answer is 50%. There is nothing more to explain in this, because this is a criteria which has been defined by experts and all that. So I can't explain many things on this, but this is a kind of recall question and recall kind of question. So you should recall this. Always remember this, that either less than 150,000 or 50% from the baseline value. So this you need to remember, right? Let's move to third question. The antithrombin 3 is a plasma protein that inhibits coagulation enzymes of the extrinsic, intrinsic and common pathway, and its activity may be amplified by 1000-fold with this antithrombin 3 is present in the blood. Even if patient has it's important target for certain drugs. I'm not discussing everything, because later questions might have this kind of thing, so I should explain whenever and whenever I feel like that I should explain in this question, then only I'll explain. So these are all choices: keratan sulfate, chondroitin sulfate, dermatan sulfate, heparin sulfate. They are all they are called glycosamine glycans. And when they get attached to a protein, they become proteoglycans. So they have certain roles in the body. That is not my point of discussion, because I cannot discuss each and everything what they do. And they are actually mucopolysaccharides and negatively charged, and repeats of disaccharide units like this. So if they have little bit of one of them is having anticoagulant effect that can interact with the antithrombin 3 and can produce anticoagulant effect by enhancing the action of antithrombin 3. Antithrombin 3, as said, is an internal naturally provided anticoagulant. So so the answer, if you see keratan sulfate, I would say no. Heparin sulfate is the answer. But if you compare it with heparin, heparin also targets the antithrombin 3 for its action. So heparin sulfate does have some anticoagulant activity, but its extent of binding to antithrombin 3 is maybe 100 times less than, or many times less than that. But it can binding with this. This is its quality. Once it gets bind to antithrombin 3, its activity is amplified by 1000-fold. It can inactivate many clotting factors. These are called proteases, anti-clotting factors. These clotting factors. So it can be definitely increased in presence of these their stimulators. So this suppose this heparin sulfate hardly binds from 0.3% of it may bind to the antithrombin 3, but heparin can bind up to the extent of 30% to antithrombin 3. So it cannot match the activity of thrombin, but these are present in naturally, and they can also can activate antithrombin 3 and can have some can promote the anticoagulant activity of antithrombin 3. Got my point बेटे? आप लोगों को समझ में आ रहा है? खैर आपसे मुझे कोई आंसर तो मिल नहीं सकता, लेकिन मुझे जहाँ तक लग रहा है आपको समझ में आ रहा होगा. Next question. The clotting time of plasma after recalcification is shortened if negatively charged phospholipids and a particulate substance is added to it. And clotting time thus measured is known as bleeding time, prothrombin time, partial thromboplastin time और activated partial thromboplastin time भी कहा जाता है, और clotting time. This is more of a physiology question, but because we are talking about anticoagulant and all that, and we know how to monitor therapy and all that, so it becomes important in this context that you should be knowing what exactly prothrombin timing is, what exactly is activated partial thromboplastin time is, what is clotting time, what is bleeding time. Bleeding time is related to the platelet activity, clotting time is related to the clotting factor activity, and these are the specific tests which can also tell you about to monitor the therapy with the certain anticoagulants. So usually what happens, if you allow plasma to clot, it will take 4 to 8 minutes. If you take plasma or your blood, whatever, because if you take plasma and allow it to clot, it will take 4 to 8 minutes because clotting factors are there. It will allow clotting of that, because if you take in test tube that comes in contact with the wall of the test tube, glass tube, that is glass factor or factor 12, this gets activated and clotting. But somehow we, after using chelating agent, EDTA or etc., we remove calcium from that, and we use EDTA etc. when we need this thing. We have to do certain tests and all that, and we do not want that the blood to be clotted or plasma to be clotted, so this calcium is chelated. So such agar if this plasma from which calcium has been removed is again added, calcium is added to that, suppose, then the blood clotting occurs, whole blood clotting occurs in 2 to 4 minutes. See, same calcium is removed and again we've added, the clotting time decreases. And when you add in this calcium, you add this in which calcium is added, you add certain particulate substance, phospholipids, and particulate substance may be in the form of this kaolin is used, silicate is used. These are the compound which are used. This, if it is used, actually this clotting times is reduced to 26 to 33 seconds, and this is called activated partial thromboplastin time, and this is actually used to monitor heparin therapy. And if in the same, if without, you are not adding this particulate substance, rather you are adding phospholipids in recalcified plasma, phospholipids plus you are adding tissue factor, that is together they are called thromboplastin. So this will lead to prothrombin time. This is called prothrombin time, and this varies from 12 to 14 seconds, right? So I think this you should know that first this calcium is removed from the, normally if it is allowed 4 to 8 minutes, calcium is removed through the chelators 2 to 4 minutes when calcium is added to it again. And when this recalcified plasma is mixed with some other substances like this phospholipids and particulate substance, for example silicate or kaolin, it decreases to this clotting time, becomes even faster, 26 to 33 seconds. So it means this is activated partial thromboplastin time, because this is activated, it is accelerated kind of thing. So this is used for heparin therapy. And when you add thromboplastin to this recalcified plasma, thromboplastin is nothing but phospholipid and tissue factor, then this prothrombin times become 12 to 14 seconds. This is called prothrombin time. This is used for oral therapy like warfarin with warfarin, INR ratios and all that. So this prothrombin time of the standard and prothrombin time of the patient, and we see for what ratio is there between these two. So accordingly we decide or fix or titrate the doses of the oral anticoagulant like warfarin and all. A USP unit, this is USP is United States Pharmacopoeia, like we have IP, Indian Pharmacopoeia, like European Pharmacology, EP, European Pharmacopoeia, BP, British Pharmacopoeia. The USP unit reflects the quantity of heparin that prevents 1 ml of citrated sheep plasma from clotting for after calcium addition. Up to what time? 1 unit USP unit means as per United States and standard. So how long? Actually, I forgot to remove this the answer from here, but it is 60 minutes. You just remember this. It's not 30 minutes, 40 minutes. Just like we were talking about ANC, neutralizing capacity, acid neutralizing capacity. There we asked for milli equivalent of antacid or the one normal hydrochloric acid that is neutralized brought to the pH of 3.5 with single dose of 5 ml of antacid or 1 tablet of antacid. So likewise this is actually defined as like 1 unit of insulin is defined as which can bring the plasma glucose of a fasting rabbit to 45 mg%. So this is 1 unit kind of thing. So there are certain criteria to standardize the activity in particular substance. For here in anticoagulant like heparin, there for protein like insulin, and so this is the answer is 60 minutes. But now actually the heparin is always measured, activity is measured in international unit. An international unit takes into account the anti-factor 10A activity and all that also. So when this international unit came into picture, this USP unit actually when compared to this USP unit is found to be 10%, whatever we are considering just 1 unit, that is not equivalent to 1 unit of international unit. It is actually 10% less potent than international unit. So now to achieve the same level of anticoagulation, if you are using USP unit, you have to give 10% more international USP unit to achieve same level of anticoagulant level of anticoagulation. Got my point? So this 60 minutes is right answer. Better just remember 1 hour. Okay, 1 ml 1 hour. Okay. Which of the following anticoagulant agents do not have any intrinsic anticoagulant activity of their own? Can you imagine? They do not have any activity, their own anticoagulant activity. They take, assistance of something else. For example, so which one is the right answer? Heparin. Low molecular weight, this is the short form, low molecular weight heparin. Heparin is also called as unfractioned heparin, and this low molecular weight heparins are fractioned heparin, fondaparinux or all. So if you see these things, though heparin is present in the body, but they do not have their own anticoagulant activity intrinsic. They just they act through a different molecule and exert their anticoagulation activity. So answer should be all, and they all act through antithrombin 3. Actually, what happens when these molecules combines with antithrombin 3? The antithrombin 3, its active site becomes open, and when it's conformational change because of and the factors which are inhibited by these enzymes, these drugs, they all actually get attracted to this antithrombin 3, and they attack those proteases, attack its active site antithrombin 3, and they are trapped there. It means they form stable complex and trapped there. Now they cannot act, and they are now fixed with antithrombin, is stuck to antithrombin 3. And these drugs, after this reaction has taken place, they just enjoy their party, and these proteases and antithrombin 3s are stuck to each other. So these all the threes, low molecular weight heparin, fondaparinux, heparin, they all do not have their own activity. They act by antithrombin 3. If there is, suppose, hereditary deficiency of antithrombin 3, then there could be a problem, An example of suicide substrate is tissue factor pathway inhibitor, protein C, antithrombin 3, plasmine. Do you think tissue factor pathway inhibitor. This tissue factor pathway inhibitor, this is I think released from endothelial cells. I think so, and it binds with first it binds with activated factor 10 and inactivate it. This is very intelligent. Inactivate it, and then this binary complex inhibit tissue factor, and that it leads to inactivation factor 7A, because tissue factor activates factor 7A. So thus this factor 10A is very important. This actually decides its own generation. It controls its own generation. So tissue factor pathway inhibitor is involved. Protein C it's an enzyme actually. As I said, this is get activated once. This is also gamma carboxylation takes place on protein C through reduced vitamin K. This protein C is one of those. Protein S is also there, but this is an enzyme. So the protein C gets activated when its GLA residues, which are actually carboxylated residues, calcium binds to it, and then this binds to protein C, and this protein C actually binds to endothelial protein C receptors. Once it binds to it, this complex actually this receptor binding with this receptor activates thrombin and thrombomodulin. This gets activated by this thrombin, thrombomodulin, and that it leads these receptors and binds to C, this protein S. Protein S is also GLA residue, having GLA residue, but it has no enzymatic activity. Once they both bind, they can inactivate factor 5A and 8A. And these are very important. Once they are inactivated, extrinsic, intrinsic, both pathways are inhibited. So protein C is an anticoagulant. Protein S is just act as a cofactor for protein S. This protein S act as a cofactor for protein C. Antithrombin C, yes, this is the example of suicide substrate. As I said, that its active site, the proteases, this clotting factors, these are actually enzymes. These clotting factors are enzyme actually. They get trapped in and stable complex is formed, and antithrombin is utilized in this reaction, and this is called suicide substrate. This antithrombin cannot be used again because it has formed a stable complex with that. Plasmin is something which is actually act as fibrinolysis leads to, once there is clot is formed, this clot is dissolved by plasmin. Plasmin has nothing to do with this. Okay. Half-life is dose dependent in case of fondaparinux sodium. It is available as sodium salt, low molecular weight heparin, unfractioned heparins, and all of the above. So again, you are falling trap. You might fall in this all of the above trap, but sometimes it is right. I tell you, this is not always wrong. There is sometimes it is kept purposefully to make a person know that he knows entire thing about that particular event or particular process, something like that. And so it's not that a patient, it is also one of the way to judge that you do not have fragmentary information. You have the complete information about that question in subject, or that particular question, what it wants to actually wants to know from you. So this, if you see, this fondaparinux sodium has very predictable action, and half-life is around 17 hours, I think. Low molecular weight heparins, they are also predictable if there is no issues, so better than actually UFH, but intermediate between fondaparinux and UFH. UFH is T-half is dependent upon the dose. It may range from 1 to 8 hours. That is why unfractioned heparin is produces very unpredictable response. And that is why monitoring is required. In such cases, it is said that monitoring may not be required, but in certain cases monitoring is required. But usually you can do away with this monitoring and all that with fondaparinux and low molecular weight heparins. So UFH is the drug which its half-life is quite variable, because depending upon the doses and all that, it may vary from 1 to 8 hours. So your correct answer is these UFH, right? So many time in many drugs there are dose dependent change in half-life. A heparin molecule should be composed of at least fill in the blanks saccharide units to be sufficient, because these are glycosamine glycans kind of thing, they have disaccharide units, repeated disaccharide units to be sufficient to inhibit both thrombin and factor Xa. And one thing I wanted to tell you, that this heparin and heparin sulfate I talked about, heparin sulfate is produced by almost all cells of the body, and heparin is released by mast cell granules, and it is derived from, it is derived from human animal sources. It is derived from porcine intestinal mucosa, because porcine intestinal mucosa is very rich in mast cells. So from there it is extracted. So sufficient to inhibit both thrombin and factor Xa, because they inhibit factor 2, 7. They can inhibit many factors, but their activity is actually measured by action on thrombin, factor 2A and factor Xa. So inhibit thrombin, prothrombin and thrombin, so factor Xa. So how many saccharide units do you actually need to inhibit both of these? Is it 14? Is it 18? Is it 17 or is it 34? What do you think? The correct answer, if you see, is 18. And because this 18 saccharide unit is sufficiently long that can accommodate antithrombin 3, because this is required for inactivation of thrombin. Thrombin is a bigger molecule, so this much this platform is needed, this scaffold is needed, so that both can bind together and can interact with each other, so that this inactivation of thrombin can occur. So 18 saccharide units needed at least. Got my point? So heparin, it's not that all its units are more than 18 saccharide units. Some may be less, some may be more even. That is unfractioned heparin. That is the reason. And but it can, majority of them had more than 18, so it can block both factor Xa, both thrombin, because it can bind with both, because the length is sufficient. So it can effectively block, and that is why we have other low molecular weight heparin, their activity is measured in anti-factor Xa activity, right? So you should have at least 18 saccharide units to have effect on both thrombin and as well as factor Xa. Remember this is very important, 18 saccharide units. Activity ratio of heparin to inhibitory factor 2A, thrombin and factor Xa, because I said heparin inhibits both factor 2A and factor Xa. So heparin acts more on factor Xa or more on factor 2A. So this ratio is in the form of 1:2 or 1:3, that one thrombin is inhibited, then 2 molecule factor Xa is inhibited, or one molecule of factor 2 is inhibited and 3 molecule likewise. So which is the correct ratio? 1:2, 1:3, 1:1 or 3:4? If we see that, I said that majority of the subunits in heparin, they are all heparin molecules having more than 18 saccharides unit, different molecules. So they do not distinguish between the factor 2A or factor 10. It has equal capacity to inhibit both. So it inhibits both in 1:1 ratio. It does not discriminate between two, because the length is sufficient. It has opportunity to bind with both. So it is done. This is the correct answer. Fondaparinux promoting the formation of complexes between antithrombin and target proteases. Right, Fondaparinux is a drug, anticoagulant drug, very efficient, promoting the formation of complexes between antithrombin and target proteases. Target proteases is, as I said, clotting factors. फॉर्म्स टर्नरी कॉम्प्लेक्स विद द सबस्ट्रेट. टर्नरी कॉम्प्लेक्स मैंने बताया था क्या होता है. When one enzyme or anything binds with the two substrates, so three things are joined together, so that is your ternary complex. अभी मैंने बात की थी TFPI tissue factor tissue pathway factor inhibitor, yes, TPFI, that actually forms binary complex with the factor 10A. So this is ternary complex, and so this forms ternary complex with the substrates, then it can lead to anticoagulation effect. Remain bound to thrombin 3, it once binds to thrombin 3, it remains there. Dissociates from thrombin to catalyze other molecules, or gets inactivated permanently after inactivating the factor 10A. So what is the right answer? Fundaparinux is a pentasaccharide. It has only 5 saccharide units. This is synthetically prepared molecule, and this pentasaccharide residue or this sequence is very important to interact with antithrombin 3. Otherwise it will not bind. Heparin, low molecular weight of heparin, they all have in their structure this pentasaccharide residue, this specific pentasaccharide residue that actually attaches them to antithrombin 3. So it forms ternary complex with substrate. It's not a right answer. No ternary. Remain bound to antithrombin 3. No. It dissociates. All these after catalyzing their activity, antithrombin 3 is activated. That binds with the clotting factor and forms suicide substrate. They remain permanently stable. Complex is formed. So antithrombin remains permanently attached to clotting factor. So that is a substrate molecule, a suicide inhibitor kind of. But these molecules, they dissociate and search for other antithrombin molecule to activate, right? So this is the right answer, and gets inactivated permanently after inactivating. No, this is no. This is true for antithrombin 3. They inactivated permanently after inactivating the factor 10A or factor 2, whatever. So that may be true for antithrombin 3. So the correct answer is this, and dissociates from thrombin to catalyze other molecules. A cationic protein released from alpha granules during platelet activation binds heparin and prevents it from interacting with antithrombin. So which actually cationic protein we are talking about? And these are released from platelet. Alpha granules, platelet has dense granules, alpha granules. So what are those platelet factors? Is it platelet factor 1, 2, 3, 4? It is not factor 1, not 2, not 3, it is factor 4. This platelet factor 4, released from the platelet, actually interacting with action of heparin, because heparin, it does not allow heparin to bind with antithrombin 3. So that is why this heparin is less effective in platelet rich clots. Less effective in platelet rich clot. So, and this platelet form is also responsible for certain things that I will discuss later. So remember, this platelet factor 4 is actually prevent this heparin to act less effectively in clots that are rich in platelet, because platelet releases this, and this prevent heparin binding to its assistance antithrombin 3, which actually is responsible for anticoagulant effect. High doses of can interfere with platelet aggregation and prolong the plating time. Which one of these? Low molecular weight heparin, warfarin, heparin, fondaparinux sodium. High doses means they are acting as anticoagulant. All of them are anticoagulant, but they are also interfering with platelet aggregation. So means platelets are important for bleeding time, but clotting factors are responsible for clotting time. But if both are mixed, then the chances both are actually ultimately leading bleeding. So bleeding is complication of bleeding is enhanced number of times. So which of these in high doses can lead to inhibition of platelet aggregation, and one should think of that it might might lead to more bleeding episodes. Low molecular weight heparin, no. Warfarin, no. Endopyrenic sodium, no. It is heparin. Heparin interferes with platelet function also. Heparin has many actions that I will not discuss because they will come in questions. Don't worry, everything will be taken up. But because if I discuss everything in every question, then the entire interest goes away. So you have to wait and be patient. Things will unfold one by one, and you will definitely enjoy. I have that gut feeling. Next question. Fondaparinux is not used during coronary balloon angioplasty with or without stent replacement to prevent thrombosis because of the risk of increasing cardiac mortality, atheromatous emboli that can further block the smaller vessels, catheter thrombosis, or cardiac arrhythmias. Please guys reply. You can take your time, you take your right answer and then check what you feel is right, and then I'll tell you whether you are right or not. Increasing cardiac mortality is not a reason. Atheromatous emboli, you're putting a catheter for stent replacement. So what happens? You're actually manipulating atheromatous emboli also, because you will interact with that also. So maybe some of its fatty emboli, fat from that may emboli and can go to some smaller vessel and block it. It could be a possibility, but this is not the reason. Catheter thrombosis, yes, this is the right answer. Cardiac arrhythmia, no. Why catheter thrombosis? Because catheter surface is act as contact factor kind of thing. They can activate factor 12 actually. So this leads to actually thrombosis. And this can be prevented by adding a small dose of heparin or bevalirudin. That can be used. But heparin can be used for this little bit of heparin and this bevalirudin, little bit of bevalirudin can be used. That can prevent catheter thrombosis, but this usually is not used fondaparinux in coronary and balloon angioplasty. This is avoided, right? Activation of lipoprotein lipase. As I said, heparin has many effects that hydrolyzes triglycerides to glycerol and free fatty acids, right? And this effect occurs at different doses amongst particular doses, whether these doses are similar to anticoagulant doses required for anticoagulant or low, higher, or what. So occurs at doses higher than that required for anticoagulant effects. Occurs at lower doses lower than that required for anticoagulant effects. There is no relationship between dose and lipemia clearing effect. Both effects occur parallelly at the same doses, because many times it happens that a particular drug can show effect, but that is shown at concentration beyond recommended therapeutic concentration, so that has no clinical relevance. So that is why I am asking this lipemia clearing effect, does it occur at the therapeutic doses or lower doses or higher doses, or there is no relationship at all? So what could be the answer? Both effects occur parallelly at the same dose. Yes, they can occur, but this is not the right answer. There is no relation between dose and lipemia. There is a relationship. It occurs at lower doses. Yes, these doses that are required for lipemia clearing effect is much lesser than what is required for anticoagulant effect. Remember this. So this automatically is considered wrong answer. So if you see this, there is no both occurs parallel at the same doses. It can happen if anticoagulant is occurring and this is effect occurs at lower doses. So at anticoagulant doses also this effect will occur. So both occur parallelly at the same dose. This is just to confuse you, but this cannot be absolutely considered as a wrong answer. If you do not have this question, this choice, this could also form as a basis for right answer. But no, when you have definite choice, then you can make this choice as an answer. The agent of choice for surgeries requiring cardiopulmonary bypass is fondaparinux, low molecular weight heparin, lepidolin. This cardiopulmonary bypass means you are actually this I think is the machine, heart lung machine that actually transmit blood from, means it's a kind of heart and lung outside the body. Machine is doing that oxygenation and pumping action and all that. Maybe it is used, probably I don't know, but it must be used during the lung surgeries or heart surgeries maybe. So because the blood is passing through the machine, so it has tendency to clot and all that, because of clotting factors, this contact factor and all that. So you need some anticoagulant. So which one is important? If you look at this, the heparin is the choice because it is required in higher doses, but the advantage is we have an antidote of this. If the dose is such that it is leading to has made very high anticoagulant activities achieved, that can be reversed by using protamine. This protamine is there as an anticoagulant. And why not these two? Because protamine sulfate reverses partial action of this low molecular heparin, not at all of the fondaparinux. And lepidolin, we do not have any anticoagulant antidote and all that. So because of the availability of this is still considered as the agent of choice. But people have said other than that, you can use bivalirudin, that is short-acting drug, but that also has no antidote and all that. But if you have no choice, then only, otherwise heparin is the drug of choice. Heparin, low molecular weight heparin and fondaparinux sodium do not cross the placenta and making them the drugs of choice for anticoagulation during pregnancy. As I said that vitamin K antagonists like coumarin derivatives should not be used during the pregnancy because they can cross placenta and can lead to defects and all that. So patient should be put on parenteral this anticoagulants like low molecular weight heparin or fondaparinux sodium or heparin. But there is chances that they need to be discontinued before delivery because they may lead to anticoagulant effect, because child may have bleeding tendency once he's, or mother can bleed postpartum hemorrhage maybe too much because of this anticoagulant effect. So they should be stopped. So when they should be stopped ideally? Usually be discontinued 12 hours before delivery, usually be discontinued 24 hours before delivery, usually be discontinued 2 hours before delivery, or usually be discontinued 6 hours before delivery. Tell me the answer. If you go by D, no. You go by A, no. You go by C, no. This should be discontinued 12 hours before delivery. At least if you are using fondaparinux, it has a half-life of 15 to 17 hours. So we take maximum. Heparin, as I said, 1 to 8 hours. Low molecular weight vitamin maybe having 6 to 8 hours kind of thing. So at least 24 hours before delivery, they should be discontinued to prevent postpartum hemorrhage and all that. This diagram, you can see the diagrams depicts the mechanism of action of fondaparinux, low molecular weight heparin, unfractioned heparin, dabigatran. Tell me, what is this? I thought of putting in some picture related, because nowadays some picture related, diagram related questions are asked, and that sharpens my skill also to create picture based questions and all that. Picture I have not made. I have found it out from the internet or some textbook or something like that. But idea is mine that there should be some question related to that. So what exactly it is showing? And what should be the answer? Is it dabigatran? Unfractioned heparin? No. Low molecular weight heparin? No. Fondaparinix sodium. As I said, unfractioned heparin has disaccharide units more than 18, because that is why it is able to block thrombin and factor 10A. Low molecular weight heparin have, few maybe more than 18, otherwise less than 18. So they have more factor 10A activity than the factor 2A activity, anti-10A activity. So this could be in the ratio of 3:1 or maybe 2:1, right? Fondaparinix, and as I said, all these molecules should have this 5 pentasaccharide residue, which is very important to bind with or recognize antithrombin 3. This is 83 actually. Without this pentasaccharide residue, nothing can happen. So this antithrombin 3, this pentasaccharide is fondaparinix, this binds with this, and this opens, this active site of the antithrombin 3, or this is the factor 10A, 10 active. And this, binds with this, and here it is trapped, a stable complex is formed, and this fondaparinix will go away, leaving this, and this is 1:1 ratio, not logged in with this, 1:1 stable is formed, and this antithrombin 3 becomes as a suicide substrate here. Got my point? Which of the following agents can be given orally to exert this anticoagulant activity? Fondaparinux, ergotroban, bivalirudin, apixaban. Fondaparinux sodium given parenterally. Ergotroban is a direct thrombin inhibitor given parenterally. Bivalirudin is a direct thrombin inhibitor. Direct thrombin inhibitor is also known as DTIs. Apixaban is factor 10A inhibitor. They are oral. Apixaban, endoxaban, rivaroxaban, right? So they are oral agents. So this has actually a simplest convenient way of you giving anticoagulation. Like people prefer warfarin. Who likes injection? Nobody. So apixaban is the drug which can be administered orally. ठीक है बेटा? A small amount of intact heparin appears in the urine, and remaining is cleared and degraded primarily by the kidney, liver, reticular endothelial system. You can write like this: plasma. So it is degraded in the plasma or reticular endothelial system or liver or kidney. What do you think? Kidney? No. Liver? No. Plasma? No. Majority of it is degraded in the reticular endothelial system, and some of its intact heparin may appear in the urine. Very surprising, no? I was also surprised when I read it first time. Cleared almost exclusively by the kidney and can accumulate in patients with renal impairment, leads to bleeding. All. Ergotroban, low molecular weight heparin, unfractioned heparin. What is your choice? All ठीक लग रहा है? आपने अपना आंसर टिक कर लिया? आप अपना आंसर टिक कर लें, क्योंकि दैट इज़ मोर इम्पॉर्टेंट, ताकि आप चेक कर सको कि आपने क्या स्कोर किया. उससे पता चलेगा आपको, आपकी परफॉर्मेंस पता चलेगी, और आपको पता चल जाएगा कि आपके क्या प्रोस्पेक्ट्स हैं इस बार. अभी भी वक्त है, वक्त गया नहीं है. वक्त हमेशा होता है आदमी के पास, बस इस्तेमाल नहीं करता आदमी उसका. वक्त की कभी कमी नहीं होती. लोग कहते हैं ना वक्त बहुत कीमती है, वक्त की बहुत कमी है. वक्त हमेशा बहुत होता है. आप अगर उस वक्त का इस्तेमाल करें तो वक्त सफिशिएंट होता है हमेशा. ऑल तो नहीं होगा इसका आंसर, ना अर्गोट्रोबान होगा. लो मोलिकुलर वेट हेपेरिन एंड फोंडापेरिनिक सोडियम्स आर एक्चुअली क्लियर्ड बाय किडनी. So they are, if patient has renal impairment, creatinine clearance एक particular level से नीचे है, तो we should not use, because it can lead to bleeding. Unfractioned heparin के साथ ये नहीं है. So if such a problem is there, you can use unfractioned heparin. What a problem? Not a problem, but it is because low molecular weight heparin is more predictable action and all that. So that is the reason we prefer low molecular weight heparin or fondaparinix sodiums, etc. But heparin is cheap also. Thromboprophylaxis with fondaparinix is contraindicated in patients undergoing hip fracture, hip replacement, knee replacement or abdominal surgery who have a body weight less than 50 kg, more than 60 kg, less than 40 kg, more than 50 kg. क्या आंसर है? ये नहीं है. इसमें बहुत सी सरप्राइजिंग चीज़ें मैं बताऊंगा आपको. ये नहीं है, ये नहीं है, ये है. लेस देन 50 kg नहीं होना चाहिए. अब इसमें देखिए, ट्रीटमेंट में यूज़ करना है ये सब चीज़ में, तो ट्रीटमेंट में 50 kg से कोई मतलब नहीं. लेस देन 50 kg है तो भी आप यूज़ कर सकते हो डीप वेन थ्रोम्बोसिस और थ्रोम्बोएम्बोलिज्म और ये सबको ट्रीटमेंट के लिए. बट थ्रोम्बोप्रोफाइलैक्सिस के लिए अगर यूज़ करना है तो इट शुड बी यूज्ड इन पेशेंट ओनली दोज हु आर मोर देन 50 kg. This is very surprising. I don't know how this data generated. Maybe some clinical trials this has been associated with some negative results and all that. So that could be the reason. And you did not know that much. You should know actually, yes. But for treatment it can be used in less than 50 kg also. But for prophylaxis, so remember this, for prophylaxis avoid it, not to be used. When high doses of heparin are used to prevent clotting in patients undergoing percutaneous coronary intervention, that is PCI, or cardiac surgery with cardiopulmonary bypass, so ओपन हार्ट सर्जरी कर रहे हैं, PCI कर रहे हैं, या PTCA परक्यूटेनियस थ्रोम्बोप्लास्टी, दिस PTC नहीं, दिस CABG. So adequacy of therapy is monitored through prothrombin time. Adequacy of therapy is monitored through ACT. मैं ये भी चेक करते रहना ना कि कहीं ओवर वो ना हो जाए, पता चला ब्लीडिंग होने लगी, ब्रेन में ब्लीड हो गया, यहाँ कर रहे हैं आप हार्ट ठीक कर रहे हैं, ब्रेन में ब्लीड हो गया, तो पता चला कि हार्ट तो बाद में रिपेयर होगा, पेशेंट तो वहीं ख़त्म हो गया. तो ये चीज़ हमें ध्यान रखनी है, वो टेस्ट होते रहते हैं. तो मॉनिटर्ड थ्रू हेपारिन एंटी फैक्टर 10 टेस्ट और एडिक्वेसी थेरेपी इज मॉनिटर्ड थ्रू APTT. तो क्या सही आंसर है? अगर आप हेपारिन यूज़ कर रहे हैं तो हमने हेपारिन में किस टेस्ट को यूज़ किया जाता है? APTT. Yes, this is the test which is used. But here this is not the right answer. ना ही एंटी फैक्टर 10 टेस्ट, ना ही प्रोथ्रोम्बिन टाइम से तो लेने ही देना नहीं है. क्यों? क्योंकि इसमें इतनी हाई डोजेज यूज हो चुकी होती हैं कि दिस APTT इज इंक्रीज इनडेफिनेटली. सो आप इससे क्या कंक्लूजन निकालोगे? नो कंक्लूजन कैन बी ड्रॉन फ्रॉम दिस indefinitely increase in APTT. So then we use this activated clotting time or activated coagulation time. This is actually done, it is less sensitive test. It is done by adding, you clotting time ही निकालते हैं, but by adding factor 12, activated factor 12 हम डालते हैं, उसको ऐड करके फिर देखते हैं कि क्लॉटिंग कितनी देर में हो रही है. तो ये ACT becomes important in such cases where high doses of heparin is used and where APTT becomes useless, right? So this is done by adding factor 12, a contact factor, and then clotting time is measured. Again, a pictorial representation best describes the mechanism of action of fondaparinux, dalteparin, conventional heparin, bivalirudin. fondaparinux और बिवालिरुडिन, नो बिवालिरुडिन तो डायरेक्ट थ्रोम्बिन इनहिबिटर है. पहले बात तो उसको AT मीन्स एंटी थ्रोम्बिन, कुछ लेना नहीं. कन्वेंशनल हेपारिन क्या लगता है आपको? डाल्टेपारिन इज क्या है? दिस इज लो मोलिकुलर वेट. टिंजापारिन, नेड्रोपारिन, डाल्टेपारिन, एनॉक्सापारिन, दीज आर ऑल लो मोलिकुलर वेट हेपारिन. लो मोलिकुलर वेट हेपारिन फैक्टर 10 को मेनली फैक्टर 10 की एक्टिविटी को रोकते हैं. मैंने बताया ना 1:3 रेशियो हो सकता है. बट सम ऑफ द मॉलिक्यूल मे हैव, क्योंकि दिस इज फ्रैक्शन, तो सम फ्रैक्शंस मे हैव मोर देन 18 सैकेराइड, सो दे कैन एक्ट विद थ्रोम्बिन, बट इट इज मोर ऑफन एक्चुअली इन द फैक्टर 10 को रोकती है. फोंडापारिनेक्स तो मैंने बोला केवल फैक्टर 10 है, इसको किसी से कोई मतलब नहीं है, पेंटासैकेराइड रेसिड्यू है. दिस इज एक्चुअली कन्वेंशनल हेपारिन. So this is एंटीथ्रोम्बिन के साथ बाइंड कर गया, जैसे ये एक पेंटासेकेराइड रेशियो है, एक और होना चाहिए था यहाँ पे, और उसके बाद इट कैन बाइंड एंटीथ्रोम्बिन 3, और उसी के साथ वो थ्रोम्बिन को भी बाइंड कर, इतनी लेंथ है कि थ्रोम्बिन को भी बाइंड कर सकता है। फैक्टर 10 तो सीधा आके यहाँ पे लग जाता है, ठीक है ना, छोटा है। तो ये एक्चुअली ये मुझे कवर करना था, ये मैं भूल गया कवर करना, इसको मुझे छिपाना था। सो आंसर इज कन्वेंशनल हेपेरिन, ठीक है। वैरायटी ऑफ साइन एंड सिम्टम्स दैट मे accompany heparin-induced thrombocytopenia. Myocardial infarction, venous thromboembolism occurs less commonly. Bilateral renal hemorrhages occurs due to development of IgG antibodies against heparin. So क्या है? Occurs due to development of IgG antibodies against heparin. हेपरिन के अगेंस्ट में नहीं बनती हैं प्लेटलेट फैक्टर 4 के अगेंस्ट में, एंड फिर देन ये हेपरिन और उसका कॉम्प्लेक्स बन जाता है, ठीक है। एंड इट इज़ ए प्रोकोगुलेंट स्टेट, प्रोथ्रोम्बोटिक स्टेट, ठीक है ना। जबकि ये क्या है, एंटी हेपरिन क्या है, तभी तो ये थ्रोम्बोसाइटोपेनिया कम होने लगा क्योंकि वो कॉम्प्लेक्सेस बनना शुरू किए तो कंजप्शन होने लग गया एक तरह से। तो ये प्रोथ्रोम्बोटिक स्टेट है, जबकि हेपरिन एंटीकोगुलेंट है, ठीक है। जैसे DIC में होता है, डिसेमिनेटेड इंट्रावेस्कुलर कोगुलेशन। बायलैटरल रीनल हेमरेज तो नहीं होते बेटे, लेकिन बायलैटरल एड्रिनल हेमरेज जरूर हो सकते हैं। Venous thromboembolism occurs less commonly. This is the most important. Venous embolism or thrombus formation is the most common manifestation. Myocardial infarction. So this is the right answer because it can lead to clot formation in the arterial circulation also, and it can lead to stroke. MI, though less common than venous thrombus embolism, but it can also occur, stroke and MI, all that. So this is the right answer beta, please remember this. And here antibodies are formed against PF4, and as I said, this PF4 was actually inhibiting heparin from binding to the antithrombin 3, so that is why this heparin is less effective in clot which are platelet rich. So this kind of thing, if you keep repeating, you don't have to go to the book, but note down if important things I have discussed. Everything is given in book, I don't say, but such a messy, heavy book, if you open, and that actually is better that you have notes in the form of small information that can clear things immediately. So I think 25 question is sufficient for today. And once again, I will request you and suggest you that you download this Telegram app, because this is one of the way of getting connected with us, and rather we also get connected to you, and you can join this group. And but you cannot send message, but we can keep sending you the timetable of our own class. All the educators will share their what topic they are taking today at what time, and all these things. So it's better you have information beforehand. This is always in your favor. So this is just like WhatsApp, and download it, man. This is just my request, and this is important. I will again emphasize that those who do not have this learning app, please download ASAP, as early as possible, because here you can enjoy special classes. These are absolutely free, but here on this platform you will enjoy. This interface is absolutely different. It gives you opportunity to interact with your educator. It gives you opportunity to see leaderboard, and your performance is in real time. One can share if somebody is taking some test or something. So this is available for both for Android app and Android operating system, for iOS operating system. So you can download it from Play Store or Apple Store. So प्लीज़ प्लीज़ जस्ट डाउनलोड इट। अब तक क्या कर रहे हो मेरे भाई, करो इसको, इधर आओ ज़रा स्पेशल क्लासेस पे, ठीक है। और जिनके पास नहीं है, जिनको नहीं जानकारी है, जो नहीं समझ देख पा रहे हैं, आप तो देख रहे हो, मैं आपको बता रहा हूँ, आप उनको भी ज़रूर बताइए, ज़रा सा पुण्य भी कमाइए, ठीक है। लेकिन इसके अलावा भी कुछ और है, जो लोग ऐसे हैं जिन्हें इससे भी ज़्यादा चाहिए। अच्छी बात है, वन शुड नॉट सेटल एट दी मिनिमम, लेकिन कुछ जगह में आपको यस यू शुड ऑलवेज फाइट फॉर मोर, एंड दिस इज़ व्हाट सम पीपल, स्पेशली आप लोग में से ही कुछ लोग ऐसे होंगे जिनको लगता है कि नहीं ये सफिशिएंट नहीं है, मुझे और इससे ज़्यादा चाहिए, मैं हर कीमत पे मुझे अच्छी रैंक लानी है, अच्छा कॉलेज चाहिए, सब कुछ चाहिए, मैं कीमत देने के लिए तैयार हूँ उसकी। तो उसके लिए नीट, ये दिस अनअकैडमी लेके आया है नीट पीजी प्लस। प्लस का मतलब ही प्लस होता है, प्लस मतलब हर चीज़ प्लस, मनी प्लस। आपने बीमा की पॉलिसी देखी है, मनी प्लस, मनी बैक गारंटीड। तो प्लस वर्ड जो है ना, प्लस एक पॉजिटिव वर्ड है, ये आपके अंदर एक उत्साह भर देता है। प्लस मतलब माइनस कुछ नहीं होगा। मैं पॉजिटिव नहीं बोल रहा हूँ, क्योंकि पॉजिटिव आज के ज़माने में थोड़ा सा गड़बड़ हो गया, कोरोना पॉजिटिव, तो पॉजिटिव वर्ड थोड़ा सा नेगेटिव सेंस में आ गया आजकल। तो प्लस वर्ड ज़्यादा अच्छा है, ठीक है। बट दिस इज़ अवेलेबल बेटा ऑन सब्सक्रिप्शन बेसिस, एंड अगर देखा जाए तो मैं बताऊँ तो आपको सब्सक्रिप्शन भी कोई ज़्यादा नहीं है, बहुत पेटी अमाउंट है, एनीबडी कैन अफोर्ड इट। और आपने इंटर्नशिप करी होगी, वो करा होगा, तो यू आर ऑल्सो बीइंग पेड, ऐसी बात नहीं है। सो मैं ये नहीं कह रहा कि आपको मैं फोर्स कर रहा हूँ, बट आई एम टेलिंग यू कि यू कैन, बिकॉज आपको अब आगे बढ़ना है, पीछे नहीं रहना है। जब आपका 1 साल बर्बाद होता है तो आपको बहुत अखरता है वो चीज़। तो ये 12 मंथ्स और 24 मंथ्स के लिए अवेलेबल है। मैं तो रिक्वेस्ट करूँगा, जैसे मेरी अपने एक्सपीरियंस, भाई ये मेरा पर्सनल है, ये मैं नहीं कह रहा कि ये अनअकैडमी का एक्सपीरियंस वो है, मैं उसके वर्ड बोल रहा हूँ, ये मेरा अपना पर्सनल एक्सपीरियंस है। सो डोंट टेक इट अदरवाइज। मेरा ये मानना है कि आपको पहला अटैम्प्ट बेस्ट अटैम्प्ट होता है। जितनी भी कोशिश करनी है कर लीजिए अच्छे से, क्योंकि दोबारा का चांस ही रखना। मैंने जीवन में कभी भी दूसरा चांस लिया ही नहीं। खैर हमारे समय तो ये सब थे ही नहीं, सेल्फ स्टडी से ही काम होता था। और लेकिन ये है कि पहले ही अटैम्प्ट में, क्योंकि पहला अटैम्प्ट बेस्ट अटैम्प्ट होता है, उसमें थोड़ी सी मेहनत करनी पड़ती है, लेकिन आप हमेशा निकल जाते हो। तो कोई भी चीज़ छोड़े नहीं, तो आप मिनिमम 12 मंथ के लिए तो ले ही सकते हैं, और उसके लिए आपको 10% डिस्काउंट मिल जाएगा। देखिए अमाउंट कितना है, 22,500, उसको 10% डिस्काउंट मिल गया, तो ऑलमोस्ट 20,000। एंड थोड़ा सा और नोशनल इंक्रीज़ करोगे तो आप ले सकते हो 25,000 में करीब, आपको 2 साल का मिल जाएगा। तो आप ये रेफरल कोड ज़रूर यूज़ करें, क्योंकि इसके बगैर आप मतलब 10% डिस्काउंट आपको नहीं मिलेगा। तो ये 10% डिस्काउंट ले लें और इसका फ़ायदा उठाएं। पेमेंट जैसे आपकी मर्जी, आपकी इच्छा के हिसाब से, बट डोंट फॉरगेट, ये मेरी इच्छा है कि आप इसको इस्तेमाल करें। अप्लाई बेटे, ठीक है। फिर कहूँगा, बार बार कहूँगा, वही कहूँगा जो आप सुनना नहीं चाहते हो, लेकिन मैं आपको हर बार सुनाऊंगा, क्योंकि मैं भी स्वार्थी हूँ। यूज़ दिस रेफरल कोड बेटे, डॉक्टर प्रमोद, गेट 10% ऑफ। ये आपको तो 10% ऑफ मिलेगा, लेकिन मेरा भी मोरल से बूस्ट होता है, मुझे भी कुछ डिलीवर करना है, ठीक है, मेरे भी कुछ कमिटमेंट्स हैं, इसलिए ये रिक्वेस्ट आपसे करी जाती है। लेकिन ये आपके ऊपर कोई फोर्स नहीं किया जा रहा, इन्फोर्समेंट नहीं है ये, दिस इज सजेशन और यू कैन से रिक्वेस्ट और रिकमेंडेशन काइंड ऑफ थिंग। मानना नहीं मानना आपके, यू आर पूरी तरह समझदार हैं, सेन हैं, you can apply your mind, whatever you feel like, you just do it। अगर आपको लगता है कि नहीं मुझे उस पर आना चाहिए, तो आप आइए, ज़रूर आइए नीट पीजी प्लस पे, आपका स्वागत है वहाँ पे। एडवांटेज उन्होंने बताया कि ये प्लस इसीलिए कहा गया कि यहाँ लाइव क्लासेस में जैसे आपके और मेरे के बीच में दूरियाँ बनी हुई हैं, आप मुझसे नहीं बात कर पा रहे हो, मैं आपसे नहीं बात कर पा रहा हूँ, तो ये सब चीज़ दूरियाँ मिट जाएंगी, उस पर इंटरेक्शन होगा। जैसे आपको अगर लगता है, मुझे जैसा लगता है कि अगर आपको मेरी क्लासेस अच्छी लगे तो आप कुछ पूछना भी चाहोगे, तो वो एक ज़रूरी चीज़ है। क्योंकि एजुकेटर, गुरु और शिष्य में अगर बात ही नहीं हुई तो क्या फ़ायदा हुआ। तो ये ज्ञान का आदान प्रदान तो हो नहीं सकता ना ढंग से। तो इसके लिए ज़रूरी है कि आप प्लस पे आइए, और आपके क्वेश्चन हैं, कोई इश्यूज़ हैं, वो सॉल्व किए जा सकते हैं। और अच्छा, आप स्पेशल क्लास पे भी आ जाओ, वो तो फ्री है। वहाँ आप मुझे अगर फॉलो करते हो तो आप अपने मैसेज भेज सकते हो, मुझे डायरेक्टली भेज सकते हो। साथ में चैट में तो आप भेज सकते हो, चैट भी मैं देख के उधर भी आंसर कर सकता हूँ मैं आपको रियल टाइम में। ठीक है, मुझे लगेगा कि आपका क्वेश्चन जायज़ है, वैलिड है, तो मैं वहीं जवाब दूंगा आपको। तो ये कितना एडवांटेज होगी आपको। और दूसरा, आपको लगता है कि आपको चीज़ ऐसी पूछनी चाहते हैं, पब्लिकली नहीं पूछना चाहते, आप अलग से पूछना चाहते हैं, तो मुझे आप मैसेज करिए, लेकिन उसके लिए आपको मुझे फॉलो करना पड़ेगा। आप मैसेज आएगा मेरे पास, मैं सर का आंसर दूंगा। आज तक पूछ लीजिए जितने लोगों के मैसेज आए, मैंने अगर आंसर नहीं किया हुआ तो हमेशा आंसर करूंगा मैं। आई वुड लव टू रिप्लाई टू योर क्वेरीज, दैट इज़ द वे आई ऑल्सो लर्न। ठीक है, उसके अलावा क्या है, लाइव पोज फैसिलिटी है, लीडर बोर्ड फैसिलिटी है। लाइव पोज में क्या है कि आपके हाथों में ताकत दी गई है, युवा पीढ़ी के हाथ में। आप पोल कर सकते हैं, आप डिसाइड कर सकते हैं कि आपका एजुकेटर ठीक है कि नहीं, टॉपिक जो पढ़ा रहा है कि ठीक है कि नहीं, सारी चीज़ों का आपको आइडिया मिलता रहेगा। आप अपने क्रिएटिव फीडबैक भेज सकते हैं, कोई सजेशन भेज सकते हैं, कुछ कस्टमाइजेशन चाहिए वो भेज सकते हैं। तो इससे एक रेटिंग बनती है इसकी, आपके एजुकेटर की। तो ये आप पर डिपेंड करता है कि एक अच्छी रेटिंग, अगर आपको लगता है कि इस एजुकेटर की रेटिंग अच्छी होनी चाहिए, ऐसा एजुकेटर होना चाहिए ताकि आपको ही नहीं और लोगों को भी फ़ायदा हो इसका, तो वो ज़रूरी है। तो ये आपके हाथों में है ये पावर। लीडर बोर्ड है, एक टूल है जिससे आप अपना असेसमेंट कर सकते हैं, आप अपने दोस्तों यारों के बारे में आइडिया लगा सकते हैं। मैं पूरे ग्रुप का पता कर सकता हूँ कि ग्रुप क्या कर रहा है, ग्रुप कहाँ वीक है, कहाँ स्ट्रॉन्ग है, कौन बच्चा है। और दूसरा, प्लस पे कम बच्चे होते हैं तो उस पर क्या है कि एक फोकस देना, अटेंशन देना आसान होता है। नाम से बच्चों के बारे में पता चल जाता है कि ये बच्चा है, ये ठीक कर रहा है, ये नहीं कर रहा है। आप तो हमारे बच्चे ही हो, भले MBBS हो गए हो, लेकिन हमसे तो छोटे ही हो काफ़ी, तो हमारे बच्चों की तरह ही हो। मेरे बेटे ने अभी 12th पास किया, उसने नीट दिया है, तो मैं तो अपने बच्चे ही समझता हूँ आप लोगों को। ठीक है, लेकिन मेरी यही कोशिश है कि आपकी सारी दुविधाएं, जो परेशानियां हैं, वो मैं रिजॉल्व कर सकूं, क्योंकि आपको सिखाने में मैं भी सीखता हूँ। ये मेरे लिए बोझ नहीं है, बर्डन नहीं है, मेरे लिए अपॉर्चुनिटी है। ठीक है, स्टडी मटेरियल के मामले में नीट PG प्लस पे बहुत ही स्टडी मटेरियल पड़ा हुआ है जो आपके लिए फ़ायदेमंद हो सकता है, जो आपको एक क्वालिटी स्टफ़ कहीं और नहीं मिलेगा। तो आप उनको लीजिए, साइट को एक्सप्लोर कीजिए। जो मेंबर हैं उनको भी बोल रहा हूँ, जो ऑलरेडी सब्सक्राइब किए हुए हैं वो देखें, ये सब करें। जिससे ये करेंगे तो आपका इंटरेस्ट बनेगा सब्जेक्ट में। जब आप आंसर धड़ाधड़ कीजिएगा, सब चीज़ आपकी देख रहे हैं कि हर चीज़ अच्छी हो रही है, तो मन में खुशी होती है। और आप ना देखिए, कोई एंट्रेंस को पास करने के लिए मन के अंदर एंथुजियाज़म होना ज़रूरी है। मुझे याद है मैंने 3 मंथ्स केवल पढ़ाई की थी PG के समय, नहीं मैं UG की बात कर रहा हूँ, और 3 मंथ्स ने मेरी ज़िंदगी बदल के रख दी। मुझे इतना मज़ा आया पढ़ने में, क्योंकि मुझे ऐसे कंटेंट मिले और 1-2 टीचर ऐसे मिल गए। मैंने 3 मंथ्स के लिए कोचिंग ज्वाइन की थी, बस उसने मेरी ज़िंदगी सुधार दी। बहुत मज़ा आया। तो जब तक आप मज़े से नहीं पढ़ोगे, पढ़ना तो है ही, तो फिर मज़े लेके पढ़ो ना, परेशान होके क्यों पढ़ना, एंजॉय करके पढ़ो। बाकी ऊपर वाले पे छोड़ो, अपनी मेहनत पूरी करो, रिटेंशन जरूर बढ़ाओ, रिटेंशन पावर बढ़ाने की कोशिश करो। लाइव डाउट क्लियरिंग सेशन अवेलेबल, जैसे 3 सेशन हुए आपके इस पे, उसके बाद हर चौथे क्लास में आपको एक लाइव डाउट क्लास तो चलेगी, लेकिन उसमें लाइव डाउट क्लियरिंग सेशन भी है, तो आप पिछले सेशंस के डाउट क्लियर कर सकते हो। ये तो खैर कहना है, ठीक है, लेकिन आप तो लाइव क्लासेस में ही पूछ सकते हो जो भी, लेकिन उसके अलावा भी आपको कोई और मिल गई, किसी दोस्त ने बताया यार मुझे ये चीज़ समझ में नहीं आया, तो आपने कहा ठीक है मैं पूछ लूँगा, वहाँ पे कोई और दोस्त है आपका, कोई दूसरे की प्रॉब्लम ले आइए। हमें क्या है, हमें तो बताने से मतलब, कोई मेरा सब्जेक्ट घट थोड़ी जाएगा उससे, वो ले आइए, वो बताएंगे, हम जरूर बताएंगे। और दूसरा, ऑफलाइन एक्सेस यहाँ पे फैसिलिटी बहुत अच्छी है, हर चीज़ हमेशा अवेलेबल है, जब चाहें तब कर लें, डाउनलोड कर लें, पढ़ लें, जो भी चाहें, तो 24/7 365 डेज। तो ये एडवांटेज आपको कहीं नहीं मिलेगा। और दिस इज वन सब्सक्रिप्शन विथ अनलिमिटेड एक्सेस, वन स्टॉप सॉल्यूशन फॉर एवरीथिंग, बोलते हैं ना, पैनेशिया फॉर एवरीथिंग। सो दिस इज द बेस्ट प्लेटफॉर्म which I feel, this is my personal feeling, if I have to rate different platforms available for this PG coaching and all that, I would rate this Unacademy as number 1. This is my feeling, and this has not been imposed on me to say like this. This is my personal feeling. So guys, नीट पीजी आपने सब्सक्राइब किया हुआ है, लेकिन और लोगों को कहें, देश में हर बंदा इसको सब्सक्राइब करे, हर बच्चे तक इसकी खबर पहुंचे, हर बच्चा इसका फ़ायदा उठाए। और आपको मेरी बातें अच्छी लगती हैं, मेरी पढ़ाई अच्छी लगती है तो लाइक ज़रूर करें, इससे मेरा मनोबल बढ़ता है भाई। मुझे लगता है कि एज टीचर बनना अच्छा है, एक ज़िंदगी में कुछ अच्छा काम किया मैंने, मैं टीचर बना कम से कम। शेयर करें इस चीज़ों को, अगर आपने ये वीडियो देखा है तो आप दूसरे को शेयर कर सकते हैं इस चीज़ को, उसने नहीं देखा है तो कम से कम उसके पास लिंक पहुंचेगा तो आगे से वो ज्वाइन कर सकता है। इसी तरह चेन बनाइए, जब हम ह्यूमन चेन बना सकते हैं किसी चीज़ के लिए, तो ये तो विद्या तो ऐसी चीज़ है कि जितनी ज़्यादा फैले उतना अच्छा है। तो आप कम से कम इसमें भागीदार बन के इस चीज़ को ही करो। आप पढ़ा तो नहीं रहे हो, लेकिन आप कम से कम ये शेयर करके लोगों को, माने इनडायरेक्टली एक तरह से आप भी गुरु का ही काम कर रहे हो। तो बेटा कुछ पुण्य लूट लो, लूटना है तो यही वक्त है, नहीं तो पछताओगे फिर। और इसी के साथ मैं कहूँगा बेटा कि आज की क्लास ख़त्म हुई और विदा लेने का वक्त आ गया है। उसके साथ ही मैं कहूँगा थैंक यू वेरी मच। पसंद आए तो लाइक ज़रूर करना। ओके, बाय बाय।